This episode of the Closeout Bodyboarding podcast is proudly presented to you by limited edition fins. Shane, I've always wanted to know, what's the big difference between the original limited edition fins and the new Psylocke fins?
Benny, the Psylocke fins are bigger and wider than the original LE foot pockets. So basically when you try them on, they'll actually be a size up. Psylocke's fit really well in half sizes to the original fins. So I used to not be able to fit into the larges in the original LE fins, but I fit perfectly into the Psylocke large. So I just recommend everyone, if you weren't comfortable in the original LEs, go in and try on a new Psylocke's.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane. Back to you in the studio. Welcome back to the Closeout Bodyboarding podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Benny Oborn, coming to you for a very important update on one of the biggest bodyboarding events on the 2025 calendar, the Shark Island Challenge. And who better to join me to have a chat about what's going on since the light went green? Lukey O'Connor, how are you, big dog? Welcome back.
Oh, Benny, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me back on. And God, can I just start with kicking off and saying you bring some energy, mate. Like, you bring some serious energy to the microphone. It goes from, one octave up to the next as soon as we go live. And yeah, it's great to be here chatting with you. I can feel the energy across the airwaves, brother.
Mate, I'm just fucking excited. And, forgive the poor language there, but I can't hold back my emotions, mate. This is a big deal. You've pressed the button. The light's green, traffic's moving. It's all going to happen this Friday, mate. Let's get stuck into it. What's happened since we last chat? Obviously, you guys had to go on hold. The weather didn't really kind of pull itself together, but it's all in a row now.
Oh, Benny, you hit the nail on the head when the weather didn't kind of fall in our favour, man. It was amazing to see so many swells pop up on the chart and kind of hold strong there for a while, and then around the 10 to kind of 8-day mark start to falter, and then by the 7 to 5 day, it was just a complete reversal of what that swell was previously kind of showing up on as. So yeah, it's been a little bit up and down. Mark and myself have had a couple of nervous discussions. Like, generally it's been smooth sailing, but there has been a couple of moments where it was 50-50 on pulling the trigger on a couple of swells that we're very glad that we didn't pull the trigger on. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, but when you're looking at a forecast so far out and you've got so many different moving parts, unfortunately, some tougher decisions need to be made sometimes just to make the call and get something done. But I really feel proud of the boys and my decision to kind of hold back, go into that, extended waiting period and wait out for a juicy East Coast low. And it looks like we've got one, brother. We're getting absolutely pissed down on here in Sydney at the moment. We're in the eye of the storm. It's absolutely blowing a gale. It's dropped, 200 mils already. I'm sure it's going to drop another 200, but Friday's looking beautiful. The high moves in, the low creeps away to New Zealand, and I think we're going to be left with just enough swell and an afternoon high tide to have a good old merry time out Shark Island on Friday the 4th, mate.
Mate, in the words of the famous Cosmo Kramer, giddy up.
Giddy up, mate. I have just been riding like one of my broomsticks around, the lounge room for the last couple of days, just in a full horse-like manner, because I am so pumped to get this thing running one. It's been such a good build-up for the second year coming, because, the first year we didn't really know what we were doing, and we were kind of running blind, and we still are to a certain extent on our second year, but you learn so much in the first. And, yeah, you can just be a little bit more sure about things and kind of, got an expectation of how the day is going to run and where you really need to put your energy in. And I think, yeah, Sam, Mark and myself have ticked a couple more boxes this year, and I really feel we're going to have a better product for everyone to enjoy. So I'm really excited to see how it goes on Friday.
Do you guys feel like you're having a bit of a Jordan Belfort Wolf of Wall Street moment now, like chest beating, mic drop, throwing midgets around the corporate office, like it's happening?
Throwing corporate midgets around the office, that is so good. Oh, I just had such a good visual of that then. God, that's a good movie. Look, we're not there yet. The swell starts to turn up and we still have to deliver, a a palatable product for the bodyboarding community. I'm sure they're all hungry and keen for some bodyboarding, mate. But yeah, we're definitely confident, Benny, because I think that we've put the right people in key positions this year to make sure that you guys are going to get a good experience from it, and hopefully all angles are covered, and you're going to get, you know, post and pre-heat interviews. You know, you'll be getting a lot of live updates on the socials, as we've got someone locked in to be, you know, doing all the updates with the heat scores and the, you know, the close decisions and how people progress through the comp. And yeah, a rotating roster on the live commentary, get a couple of different heads in there and make sure that it's fresh and we keep it flowing, and just a better understanding of the comp site layout and where we want to direct people, and, you know, giving the athletes an area of their own, and making sure that everyone's accommodated for. But yeah, you know, and there's so many moving parts, but we feel like we've kind of done everything we can at this current stage, and we've got to wait and see.
All right, so let's cover, I guess, the operational schedule for the next few days. Like, where are you now? What still needs to be done? And then come Friday, how's it all going to play out?
Yeah, well, because it's been raining so much in Sydney, we just had a half day of work today, and popped into Loaf Sandwich Store here in Cronulla, one of the athlete sponsors, of the event, and for Anthony Miller, and they do great sandwiches and coffees. And Sean Clifford, Marcus Days and myself sat down to have a good old yarn about tying up loose ends. Unfortunately, Sam can't be there. He's still in America at the moment, believe it or not. He's actually going to catch 3 flights back home. I think he just left this evening to land on Thursday morning here, Aussie time.
3 flights. Mate, that's nothing. I had to catch 4 back from Raro last week.
Really?
Yeah, don't ask.
Wow, that's a messed up kind of... Isn't just one direct flight? Or maybe to New Zealand, and then to Sydney?
Well, yeah, usually direct from Sydney, but the way it panned out, we went on the way home, Sydney to Auckland, Auckland to Brisbane, Brisbane to Sydney, and then Sydney back to Avalon.
Fuck off, mate.
24 hours later.
Oh, my God, Ben. For that to be blown out for such a short trip, isn't the Cook Islands like a 6-hour flight?
Yep.
Oh, my. Yeah. All right, you've definitely done the rounds. But Sam's also doing the rounds. He's coming back from his girlfriend's family wedding. Don't know which relative got married, but anyway, it is irrelevant. He's over there in America at the moment. And he's making his way back. So yeah, we were having lunch there at Loaf, and we're going over a couple of things, just making sure we'd tied up some of the gear from Surfing New South Wales, and they're sending some staff members over to help with Craig Haddon and the judges run all the live heats side of things. And obviously everyone out there, if you are wanting to keep updated with the scores throughout the day, live heat is the place to go to. They'll be constantly ticking over from 10:15 a.m. first heat all the way to 4:50 p.m. the end of the final at the end of the day.
Mate, that site's going to get jammed for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah. I would download the app now and kind of sign in anticipation. But so that was a good thing to sort out. Going over Coops in the boat, doing the pre and post heat interviews, and just having Idris there, Idris Waste, just directing things and making sure we're getting athletes over in time, and they'll also be letting them know with the PA system out there of scores and if there's any certain updates or anything the riders need to know. What else were we doing? Finalising the actual catering with Loaf themselves for all the judges and staff. But yeah, I won't bore you anymore, but there was just a fair few loose ends that you just don't really ever think of until we actually come together in person, and especially when Sean's there, he brings a different kind of light to it, or a different old head in the mix. But yeah, it was good and productive. So that'll be today as it's been. We'll move into kind of getting some of the stuff down at the comp site, because we've got the Airbnb from Thursday. That'll be straight out the front of Roker Street there, and then by kind of Thursday afternoon, we're putting all the bunting up and getting the star pickets in, putting up some of the 3x3 tents, and then we'll have everything else on site in the Airbnb lock-up garage, and we'll just get it out on the day.
And from a spectator and fan perspective, do you want to quickly recap what their options are from I guess if they're staying at home watching online, if they're going to make their way down to Cronulla? Give us a rundown. For sure. Benny, that's definitely a good point. The live stream we run through Sporting News' YouTube again. They're definitely the main guys that have been behind us all the way from the beginning when Mark, Sam, and myself came together. They've been head of production with Chris Smith this year, who's also leading the broadcast in regards to the editing, and cutting. But yeah, it's definitely through Sporting News' YouTube, and then you can go to Ridges, and Ridges will have it on all day there in the alley bar, Ridges Cronulla, that is. There'll be multiple TVs around the area. I mean, it is going to be a very sunny day, so it'd be great to just come down to the point. But if you do want to come back, quench your thirst, Ridges is the place to go for a quick drink and still catch the comp. And then I guess all the way on our socials, man, there's going to be so many updates. If you are watching at home, or you're at work and can't get the day off. And I guess if you're making your way down, you just got to make considerations that parking is limited in that area. It's limited regardless because Cronulla has just been built up like Manhattan at the moment, and there's about 10 cranes in the suburb, and it's absolutely quite disgraceful, the urban jungle that's occurring, but I can't stop the change, and that's why I ran over Benny Oborn. But, in turn, you don't have enough car spots in the zone as it is. So it would be probably best if people could Uber down or even catch the train. The train line does just turn straight up at pretty much South Cronulla there, and it's only a 5-minute walk to the island. So, yeah, they're probably the best ways through Sporting News, YouTube, through our socials, and coming down to the point via the train or an Uber. And you can also go to Ridges for a couple of little tasty bevies whilst watching it live. So on there, the big screen. And for all those listening to this potty, we'll make sure that we have all the tags and hyperlinks for those that are staying at home.
Legend, Benny. You're an absolute legend, mate. Look at you getting the good word out. You are a saint.
They call me the preacher. Well, I'm not sure who, but I'm gonna call myself the preacher. Self-proclaimed.
Yeah, that's a beautiful nickname. I'd definitely go with that.
Hey, let's get down to the business end, mate. The heat draw. Some pretty significant and big news that came up on your socials very recently. The Godfather, Mike Stewart, is now in the mix for the sick. Give us the rundown. Who's in? Who's out? What else do we need to look out for here?
Yeah, look, it was devastating to lose Jeff because Jeff is someone who is timeless, much like Mike, obviously. But it's just someone that you don't see out in Australia that often. We got the pleasure of seeing Mike Stewart last year, and it's amazing to have him again. So we're losing nothing there. So that's been like the big change there. Jeff, unfortunately, just didn't, foresee the waiting period extending, which is totally understandable. And he booked I believe it was a family holiday. I think they're going to Europe. I'm pretty sure. Got to double check on that, but he definitely had prior arrangements outside of June 30, and so unfortunately he can't make it. But Mike, funnily enough, was in the country. He was staying out there with Desi at Cornell. And yeah, he just wouldn't believe it. The timing was perfect.
How are the odds? How are the odds there? That's
It is unbelievable. I couldn't believe it when Dad mentioned it to me. I'm like, oh wow! And then you lose one Hawaiian grade, and then you swap another one in, and you're kind of like, well, that was the easiest problem we've ever had to solve.
This is one of those Homer Simpson moments where he kind of just slides out of the bushes.
100% job done. But yeah, so we were absolutely pumped on that, and Mike's been so grateful for the invite. He just changed his flight straight away. He's perched himself up in Oz, thinking this fellow's going to do something. We've green-lighted, and we're on our way to seeing him compete. And well, what do you reckon? Like, Would he be getting close to 10 Shark Island?
Yeah, it'd be up there.
Because he won 2000, but man, he's competed so many times.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The rest of the heat draw is mind blowing, but it's hard to argue having Mike as a draw card. It's going to bring almost another generation of viewership to this event, which is huge.
Oh, it is, mate. We're so honoured to have him. Like, as we mentioned in the intro, like, he's the godfather. He really is the godfather of the sport and what he's done and how he's pioneered, you know, so many aspects of bodyboarding. So you can't deny he is, an absolute pleasure to have around the comp, and can't wait to see what he does, especially if the waves are quality. Like, unfortunately, his heat last year, he didn't get the chance to show, obviously, his skill set because the waves didn't really allow him to. And, you know, we obviously spoke about last year's comp with, like, you know, being lucky to be on, or just, you know, well positioned to be on those, you know, grind and smaller ones when everything else is washing through. So to see him this year in quality waves and, you know, hopefully making his way through the draw would just be iconic. Like, yeah, it'd be turning back time, really. I actually just watched the short video clip before we picked up the phone tonight, and it was for an extract from a podcast of Jamie O'Brien and Mason Ho chatting to Mike about a particular wave at Pipe where Jamie and Mike basically got a double barrel from like third reef. And it's funny that we're referencing the Godfather. So I don't know if Mike had a cold, but his voice is starting to get raspy. And it's like he really is encompassing that Godfather vision. It's taking the stereotype with both hands, and he's just like, I will run with it. Then if you've got power and plenty of it, why not use it then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, any other changes to the roster? Is there any last ins or outs? We got any injuries? What are the sports bets fans need to be aware of going into Friday's event?
Well, obviously the other shocking news that unfortunately, you know, had occurred a month or so back now, but you know, only came in a couple of days ago, is that Lily Pollard won't be competing in the first ever women's division out there.
Yeah, which is super disheartening.
Oh, mate, it's terrible news for her and terrible news for, you know, kind of bodyboarding. She's obviously one of the best females to ever do it, and, you know, her skill set out there on any sort of heavy slab, whether it be the Island Cape or, you know, a number of bombies in Wollongong and down South Coast. Like, she's a very all-rounded, you know, female champion. She's won Pipe. Like, it's a huge loss of the comp, but at the same time, when we get to add Rio Clark in to the mix, who will be announced actually tomorrow when this body will probably be dropping. So I'm just so happy I didn't let the cat out of the bag too early. We'll be doing an athlete announcement tomorrow, so please keep that under wraps, Benny, for
mate,
the next 24 hours or so.
Your news will hit the tabloids before mine, mate. So
yeah, sweet. Just making sure. I had a promise to Rio, that's all.
No, mate, that's huge. Huge, mate.
Yeah. Pumped, mate. I'm so pumped for her too, because she was such a driving force behind this whole side of the event, and Women of the Waves has been so generous in regards to all the crowdfunding that they've created, and just all the members of that group and just the general public who got behind that and donated and got two females into a competition for probably one of the world's heaviest waves in one of the better 12s we've seen at the island, all predicted 12s anyway.
And we've spoken about
on Friday.
We've spoken about Rio before. I mean, I'm a big fan of everything she's done, but she's so connected to the ocean. She has an incredible kindred spirit. I mean, I don't know if she's surfed the island before. I'd have to fact check that, but I think once she gets out in the water, mate, she's going to figure it out pretty quick, hopefully.
Yeah, look, I don't think she has either, but definitely fact check for sure. But she's through all correspondence, she's super keen to be coming over. She's excited. She took the opportunity with both hands. She's been, you know, surfing and training a fair bit lately. I think she's in a really good place, and I think you're going to see a really good challenge from her. And she's definitely not afraid of big waves. Let's put it that way. Some of the stuff that I've seen from her is pretty crazy, especially over in WA. It's not for the faint-hearted over there.
Well, that southwest coast of WA, that's her backyard, is a pretty good training ground for your neck of the woods, mate, for sure.
Definitely, mate. Yeah. I think she's going to fit in nicely, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how she goes up against Sophie. It'll be, we've seen how those two girls go. They've got 25 minutes out there. We've just looked at the draw and made sure we're finishing just before 5. So all heats are 30 minutes with 4 people. The women's straight out final is 25 minutes. Obviously, there's 2 of them there. They can have plenty of time to get their 3 or 4 waves each in 25 minutes. They've had the lineup to themselves. That's rarer than winning an LMCT lottery, mate. Mate, like, if there's good waves out there on Friday, which, everything's looking really good for it, they are going to be at the peak of the tide. They are going to have one of the lightest wind scenarios, and they're going to have the lineup to just themselves. I don't think, maybe they do, but I've been replaying that kind of scenario in my head, a lot more lately as we lead up to the event. And that is a fairy tale, to have yourself out there with just one other person vying for waves. Like, if there's 3 waves in the set, take your pick, you know what I mean?
Mate, that is a money can't buy experience.
Honestly, unless you knew how to cordon off the island and batten down the hatches, but they'd be mutinying.
I was going to say, you could try. It's not going to end well.
Yeah, I don't think so. Especially, everyone remembers the ride.
No, I mean, I could come up with some pretty disastrous ways to clear a lineup, but I think the truth would get out eventually.
Oh, definitely. It definitely would. Definitely. But very interesting to see how that plays out, Benny. Very, very interesting. It's going to be so cool to see.
Well, mate, I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I know you still have, as you said, a lot of loose ends to take care of before Friday. I'm kind of speechless, mate. I'm so excited and nervous at the same time. I'm sure I speak not just on behalf of myself, but my team at the Closeout and most bodyboarders that I know are just absolutely frothing for this event. And it's crazy. It's actually a really big weekend for bodyboarding here in Australia. You've got the Shark Island event in Cronulla on Friday, and then the Futures Pro up on the Gold Coast on Saturday with a World Junior kind of format event, which is the first of its kind in here in Oz as well. So, I mean, when you look at the bigger picture, mate, everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah, it is. There's definitely a surge in the push, and we keep getting good waves and we keep getting good comps on the schedule. But there's no reason why you couldn't bring it back to odds. You know what I mean? I'm a good waves for it.
Yeah, again, mate. I mean, that's a story for another day, I think.
Well, we could go for hours, Benny. You and me have gone for hours over this.
All right, mate. Well, I can't tell you how grateful I am for your time. As I said, I know how busy you are. Mate, you're a family man, you're a sole trader, and you're an entrepreneur when it comes to event management, which is incredible. All the best, mate, for Friday, and I can't wait to lock in for another conversation post-event. I'm sure it'll be probably a few days after for sure. But rest assured, mate, we got your back, and we can't wait to see this all unfold.
Oh, man, thank you so much. I really can't express how much it means to me. For you to constantly keep getting us on, man, and just spruiking this and making sure that all the news gets out there about this event. We really, really appreciate it. The Closeout podcast is such a cool production, and really, really cool to be on. So thank you so much again for having us, Benny. And I honestly can't wait. I'm obviously getting a little bit tired and weary towards the end of it. It's been a long lead up, but come Friday, I'll be spooked up, ready to go. 3 or 4 double shot espressos in me.
Mate, you'll be running on pure adrenaline.
It's going to be sick. So yeah, and anyone out there, please again, just tune into Sporting News' YouTube. The link will be everywhere. Check out our socials, check out our website, and just make sure that Friday you've got a couple of free pockets to sneak away and watch some of the world's best waves go down, I reckon.
All right, mate. Cheers. We'll chat soon.
Thanks, Manny. Cheers, brother.
Bye.